Hello, everyone. This is Jill here to give the Purdue versus Iowa post-game recap. Final score being Purdue 78, Iowa 57. A nice, solid win for the Boilermakers away. And, I think for most fans, it was a fun one to watch just because it was a pretty comfortable lead throughout the entire game, which is something that I always like to see. So that was super great. I think we are getting slowly in the right direction of where we want to be, where we peak in March, and start to see a lot of our basketball game come together at just the right time. And so, again, this was just a great step in the right direction, especially after Nebraska. So, as far as pregame thoughts, what I was thinking about, really not much. I was a little nervous about this game, to be honest, mostly because I know that we had a bit of a tough time with Iowa while we were at home. And, this is a away game. Away games are always a little bit nerve wracking for me personally. And then, Iowa is sneaky tough. They have some really good players, and, Bennett Sturts is one of the best point guards in the nation. So there was certainly going to be a matchup between him and Braden Smith. My hope was just that we played hard and that we played a good game and that we start to see some shots fall down. I think that's been something that's plaguing us a little bit in the past couple of games. While we've been playing better, our shots may not be falling down as much as they have earlier in the season. So what can we do, or what can we hope to see that increase as the season goes on? And obviously, as the game progressed, felt really good about where we stood, how we were keeping a comfortable lead. And I think overall, just playing really well as a team and having really good communication and just playing some really effective basketball the way that I like to see it. So, as far as team stats go, field goal percentage, we were 47% from field, 40% from three. We took 30 attempts at the three, which is 15 or 16 less than we did at Nebraska, but we made one less. So take that how you will. And then free throws, we did shoot 80% from the free throw line. So hit 16 out of 20 free throws, which was a great improvement compared to Nebraska. And then total rebounds, we out-rebounded Iowa 36-28. Really great looks there as far as just being aggressive with trying to grab rebounds and either stop the opponent from getting secondhand shots or second chance points, and then giving us opportunities offensively to hopefully give ourselves second chance opportunities. Turnovers, we had 4 turnovers, which was pretty amazing in my opinion. I think that was a really great stat. Just the fact that we took care of the basketball, that we made sure that we were playing a very clean game from that front, and just try not to be sloppy. If anyone's a fan of watching the Purdue highlight movies, one thing that they mentioned in the huddle, the halftime chat, was just concentration. And I think that's very apparent in the overall turnover stat, which is, again, something that I think exceeds expectations if the team is hoping to keep their turnover rate at around 8 to 10 per game. One area I do think we can improve is just points in the paint. We had 26 points in the paint. Iowa had 24. I think their paint in the previous games, and in this game in particular, was very crowded. A lot of people kind of crowding in the middle and down low. So it's hard to get an opportunity for a nice clean pass in that area. So I think that might have attributed to that. But also, I think in this particular game, our shooters were hitting their shots from the three, and with a lot of ball movement going in and out of the paint and then going back out to a shooter, it was just kind of an opportunity where a player had an open look. So definitely a bit different. And I think still an opportunity for us to get better, because if our shots aren't falling, then we want to make sure that we are still attacking the paint and giving ourselves some good looks there. As far as player stats go, I think everyone did a really great job in this game of contributing and playing hard the entire game. And one nice thing that to see again is everyone that played in the game had scored at least a bucket or two. So that is always great to see, that we see point distribution, that a lot of players are impacting the game in either a shooting perspective, defense, or passing the ball, rebounding. So a lot of contributions coming not just from our starters, but from anyone that's getting playing time. So always really fun to see that, just because I think it just shows the depth that Purdue has this year. And, opportunities lie not just in our starters, but also just within our bench as well. I would say that this game in particular, I would call it a Jakari Harris or CJ Cox game. They were shooting really well. I think Jakari ended up with 50% from three, and then CJ Cox had 4 threes, I believe. So just, overall shooting really well and helped make the lead a lot bigger than what it was. Jakari in particular, he got us a larger lead in the first half, and then CJ Cox kind of sealed the deal at the end of the game. So super great for them. Love seeing them shoot well, perform well. And of course, they usually have a tough defensive assignment, and they delivered very well in this game. And then Braden Smith, he had 5 points, a very quiet game for him from a points perspective, but he had 12 assists and 7 rebounds. So, obviously still making a huge impact on the court. He is essentially the conductor for Purdue's offense and is really just keeping the pace of play exactly how he wants it to be and just finding open men to hit shots, which is something that he's been doing this entire season. But I think it resonates or is highlighted, especially when our players are hitting shots. I think there has been like a period of 5 or 6 games where he had low assist numbers compared to what he normally hits. And I think you can attribute that partly to our players not hitting open shots like they used to. So great to see that turn around a bit. And hopefully we can see that continue to go up, because he is now 96 away from tying the all-time assist record. Kudos to him. He's doing a great job, obviously. I don't think you ever have any notes as far as like Braden Smith's performance game in, game out, but it is interesting to see the differences of how he plays and how he can impact the ball game in different areas, whether it's passing the ball, shooting it, grabbing boards, defensive intensity. He does it all, and it's very apparent when you kind of look at these stats game in and game out. I also want to highlight TKR. He had 12 rebounds, just an absolute monster on the glass, and I think it's been really great to see him emphasize that and find like a newfound passion for it. There have been some post-game interviews floating around where he's talking about how he watches Dennis Rodman highlights before the game, just to kind of get in that mindset of rebounding is a very important thing. And that's amazing, because I think that's been the past 2 seasons. We just haven't had an absolute dominant rebounder just because Zach's no longer at Purdue. So it's nice to see that void being filled by him as well as Oscar Clough. He's grabbing a lot of great boards, a lot of offensive rebounds, and them together is really helping us get opportunities or to stop the opponent from getting second chance opportunities. So I think it's been really impressive to see like TKR's maturity throughout the past 4 years, just the way that he's been able to kind of fill in roles within the game, whether it's, kind of being a backup for Zach Edey and just being kind of a supporting role in that situation, to being absolute dominant on the court by getting 20 plus points a game for like the entire season, to now really emphasizing his role as a rebounder and taking pride in getting that and finding a new challenge in there. So he's obviously very skilled at that. He didn't have any assists in this particular game, but I also want to emphasize he's a great passer too. So it's been great to just watch his development from all these various aspects, because he is such a great player. And then Fletcher Lawyer just casually dropped 12 points on this game. He had a couple threes. He had a 3-point free throw opportunity, and he got all 3, and then he had a layup and one. So he's just finding ways to score and to make plays. And obviously, he's leader on the court for Purdue, talking a lot and giving people, coaching tips, things like that. So always just great to see him perform well and get better with each game. It was also great to see that like we didn't necessarily need him to shoot 23s this game, because we had CJ Cox, Jack Benner, Omer Meyer, Jakari Harris all making threes and, really contributing to this game. I would say overall, like this was a really fun game to watch, very reminiscent of sort of like the November, December Purdue team that we are familiar with, and that they have like a lot of energy. And I think the biggest thing is just during Big Ten play, some of that rhythm gets disrupted just based on how the Big Ten teams play in this conference. And it's nice to see them kind of bounce back from that and, really try and find new things to learn and to develop as the season progresses. Season's long, but it's getting very short now. We've got about 6 games left in the regular season. And I think it's very clear to all the players that if they wanted a Big Ten championship, they do have to win out in order to do that. And I think they are certainly up for the challenge. They seem very focused on that and, not letting any outside noise get to them, which I think as a fan, I hope that happens, that they don't feel any outside pressure from fans or from critics or things like that. Again, just want to reiterate, great game. I don't want to ramble too much, but I really enjoyed watching this one and hope to find some replays and some highlights, because I think this was really fun one to see all the players playing well and then just playing together as a team. Not that they haven't been doing that, but I think there have been moments where there's been a little bit of disruption that has kind of taken away some of their focus in just like communicating on the court. As far as next game coming up, we have Michigan at Mackey Arena on Tuesday, February 17th. That is going to be at 5:30 Central Time. Really big matchup. I believe Michigan is expected to be the #1 ranked team coming into that week. So a big opportunity for Purdue. And like I said before, I think the players all know that they have to win out in order to win the Big Ten. So hopefully we can pack Mackey and show some love to the players as they face probably their toughest opponent to date. But that's pretty much it for this one. Thank you so much for watching this, and I will see you in the next one. Boiler up.